Hello guys, and welcome to my little video that I wanted to give you on how to complete a vocabulary graphic organizer web. So we will be using these throughout the class, so I wanted to give you guys a good tutorial on how I would like them to be done, the reason that I have you complete them, and my expectations for this type of assignment. So a little bit about me. My name is Alyssa Beadel, Miss Beadel. I'm a single subject social science credential candidate, and I have my Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology. I have 6 months of substitute teaching experience, and I have found that I use this sort of graphic organizer pretty often in my lesson plans because I think it is a great way to get students to apply knowledge, and it kind of helps with all sorts of assignments, thinking it can be applied to any kind of discipline, things like that. So I want to give you guys a tutorial of what I expect for my class. So let's start with what is a vocabulary graphic organizer web. It does sound like a mouthful, but I promise I will break it down for you. So a graphic organizer is a learning tool that is used to organize information and ideas in a way that is easy to comprehend and internalize. So my goal with this is that you can kind of put the information into a way that makes sense to you and then be able to not only learn that information, but actually have it stick with you. So we will be using a graphic organizer in this example specifically to learn new vocabulary. So that's why we're calling it a vocabulary graphic organizer web. And then the web is a specific type of graphic organizer that we will take a look at in detail. I'll show you guys some examples and kind of give you an idea of what I expect and what I'm looking for in this class. So why we use a vocabulary graphic organizer web. I don't want to just assign things to my students without giving them a reason for it. So this is kind of my why I think this is good and why I do assign this kind of assignment or project. So this is a way to build connections with new vocabulary and words you're already familiar with. It helps get thoughts out in a way that is organized and meaningful, and is a great reference as we continue to work through the unit. So with social sciences, specifically looking at history, I think graphic organizers are a great thing to keep on kind of file in your notes, something that you can reflect back on, kind of use to build new connections with, as well as connections that you've already started building during lessons and units. So my goals for graphic organizers are to help students learn new vocabulary in this instance, allow students to establish connections between their knowledge, and incorporate learning that promotes a universal design for learning. It provides visuals and alternative ways that you can demonstrate your understanding so that it's not just necessarily writing a paper. So to get to the how-to information and the instructions. So this is an example of a graphic organizer web, and this is the template that I will mostly be using in my classroom throughout the school year. So I want you guys to get very familiar with this. As you can see, it's set up like a web. There's lots of blank spots for you to fill in and complete, but this is kind of the basis that we will be using in the template that you will get very familiar with this year. So step 1, for this example, we're going to pretend that we are doing a unit on the Civil War, specifically, again, looking at vocabulary. So I want to start off, we will fill in the middle circle with one of your chosen vocabulary words. So that middle circle is where the main idea is going to go, and then from there we will fill in the other circles to kind of branch off, and that's where you're going to build connections, fill them in with words that remind you of this concept, things like that. So step 2, you will think of words that remind you of this word. They can be synonyms, they can be related to the word. We're just looking for anything that will kind of help you build a connection to that main idea to help you better learn and retain the definition of the vocabulary word. So step 3 is fill in the chart with the words that you thought of. So for example, if we are looking at the Union in regards to the Civil War, we can fill in the branches with things such as Abraham Lincoln, the North, and against the Confederacy, because these are all things that should make you think of that center word or the vocabulary word. So in conclusion, this graphic organizer is going to help you demonstrate an understanding of new vocabulary because you are actually drawing the connections using this web. So it's just a great way to organize your thoughts, and it is something that we will use throughout the year. So I want you guys to have this video to reference back to, as well as my expectations for what these webs should look like. All right, thank you for listening in, and I look forward to our next class.